Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Scorpio. If Scorpio is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And our card tonight is the Five of Wands, which has everything to do with strife. But don't worry. We're going to figure out, what does this have to do with this? If anything at all, right? Okay. So if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little button. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. All right. And so I hope you all are well. We're finishing up the weekend here. It is Sunday night. I've been watching the news. I usually do not do that. Last night, when I was doing my readings, and I'm laughing because I was like in a panic last night. All these things going on in world news, and I just worked myself up into being kind of an emotional wreck. So hopefully, not tonight. I'm still worried, but, I usually just don't watch the news. I'll see things here and there, but I avoid it. It's never really been kind of my thing to be super involved in what's going on those things, but one can't always help it. Okay, so I want to look at this. We have a dragon, okay, and you can see it kind of standing here, tail up. We also have a deer, okay, and it looks like maybe a bird sitting on its ear. You can see the head right here with the ear. There's a bird. It's kind of in a seated position, maybe next to a rock. It almost looks like a little pond over here, maybe a tiny little dragon right here as well. I'm trying to look and see. So the dragon, we are in the year of the dragon. So when I'm seeing this recently, I'm thinking, okay, this is maybe in reference to the year, okay? And I think in this situation as well, this is not an angry dragon. This is a dragon that's just kind of hanging out, right? Maybe not laying down, sleeping, but sitting up, no fire coming out of its mouth, nothing like that. So I feel like, this is a powerful stance, maybe one that is alert, right? Not ready to go into any kind of full frenzy of any kind, but definitely kind of watching out. Let's see what's going on here, And then we have that deer that is sitting there. It looks like probably maybe a doe, okay? I don't see any antlers. So we're talking about kind of that real motherly feminine aspect of the sacred experience. Now we know we have the most sacred deer, usually is talked about as a stag, but it is not only the stag. I definitely feel like when we have the female deer, there's a more kind of essence of Sophia. We have the and if you are unfamiliar with Sophia, this is the divine feminine. This is feminine consciousness, and an aspect of God, right? Part of the whole. And And so, with that bird there sitting on its ear, it really is a serene and beautiful kind of place of harmony. And I do feel like there's this kind of message with the bird. The bird is kind of the messenger in these readings. The message of kind of like, let's find our way to this place of peace. Now we have the ability to do so. We have the want to do so. Okay, there's the motivation there. But there are some things that have to shift. There's some things that are going to need to change. You know, and I feel like this is a fundamental part of your life configuration. This could be maybe like where you live, maybe a relationship, maybe job, or something to do with finances. You know, whatever it is a core thing. Now, this is where I feel like that strife really kind of comes in. And I am sorry, I forgot to unplug my water thing. We have this whole different setup in here. and it, oh geez, it's probably going to be buzzing. Let me see. I'm going to actually, let's see. I guess I can pause it here. Okay, thank you. Now I'm gonna, it'll be roughly cut together. You weren't with me on the journey to unplug that thing. But yeah, so a core thing changing in this year, and that's where that strife is coming in, I think. Because it feels like, my goodness, this is going to put my life into turmoil, good or bad, right? You know, it is, even if it's a wonderful thing, when we have these big changes in our life, it can feel like just so much. It is just so much. And I totally identify with that right now. We're in the middle of moving and setting up studios and all this stuff, and it's been going on, it feels like forever now. We've been talking about it on the channels for a while. Well, it will be done this week, thankfully. Yeah, it's a blessing, but also it's like so much going on, right? So I can understand this feeling of like, can I just get to the part where I can kind of, you know, hang out, enjoy everything around me, you know, find my way to those goals that I've had in my life, everything kind of set up in such a way where I'm feeling some peace and the ability to really kind of breathe and find some little joys in my you know, mundane life, right? And I wish it was always like that. I know that, you know, most of us do, but here's the thing: is that when things come easily to us, they, you know, it's not always, they don't always like end up feeling as, I don't know, they're not as pleasurable, not as wonderful, not as, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just like to struggle. I don't know. But I feel like when we work for something, and I'm not just talking about making money. Listen, that's not what I'm talking about really at all. It could be that though. I mean, if you really do value your career at the top of your priorities, then yeah, cool, that definitely. But I mean, you know, putting in the effort in our relationships, and our relationship with the divine, within our faith, within, you know, hello, mamas. Okay, come on. Oh, you are warm. You've been in the blankets, I feel. Okay, so putting in that work, right? Putting in the effort. Even, you know, the first thing I thought of is like having a child, you know. It's a heck of a, I would say, ordeal. I mean, it really, you know, and it's a lovely ordeal, hopefully most of the time, but it is. Even under the best circumstances, it's a lot of work. but it's for a good reason. It's somebody that you will never love. You'll never love anybody as much as your children or your companions like TT, or maybe your significant other or your own, chosen family or your relationship with yourself. But, I don't like to leave anybody out saying children, but in my own experience, I never thought I was going to have kids, and I was cool with that. I was fine with it. I had my daughter, and it changed my life. I mean, duh, Lenor, obviously, but but I have felt similar to my cats, not as much, but I do love them. They are my soulmates. They are my soulmates. So, but yes, I do. It's nothing that comes easily as rewarding as it is something that you put your time and effort into. And I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old, but I believe it. I absolutely do. Now, let's see. This year, this is, it's been a year where it's like, I feel so positive about it. And yet the world, it makes it hard to stay in that place. But at the same time, I know in my heart of hearts, so many people, are coming into this place of, the fog of disillusion, the coming out of a period of time, these last years, right, where everything was thrown into chaos. Nobody knew what was going on. We were frightened every day for a prolonged period of time, and we come out of it and kind of begin our lives again. Some of us right back in the same place, some of us doing different things, but I feel like it's knocked something loose in us all, the world has been a little bit, I just feel like there's not as much of a trust in a ultimate truth of things, or a trust in these kind of monolithic institutes and ways of life and so on and so on and so on. So and I being an absurdist kind of person a little bit, right? I actually think that this is not a bad thing. Now, the world feels scary at times, right? And it's hard to deny that. But at the same time, I see so many people deciding for themselves, I'm going to do what I need to do for me, for my family. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to do the things that I've always hoped that I would do. I'm going to, stop living in a world that is not my own. I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to make these changes where I need to. I'm not going to continue to exist in this path. This path of what I should, or what people say is right, or what this framework of the dream is, and I think some people are having a hard time coming into this waking state, and of course, we all do. It's frightening, but it's also so beautiful. It's so beautiful to see the openness and love and vulnerability in people. I think people, I really do believe, people are, I have a trust in humans. I just do. And I know, I'm silly for it maybe, but, yes, it just seems it seems to me, against what everybody is saying in the medias and so on and so on, there is a camaraderie, there is a kinship, a fellowship in people on a very basic level. And, that's what I pray for, is this continued awakening, this connected, collective, betterment and, lifting, the lifting of, the veil, really. Now, let's look at this. I promise we'll get back to it. But I feel like this has everything to do with this, like, kind of undercurrent of what is going on with you. If you have a journal or, what you have, like, like social media, and you have, like, old memories, look back, like, 6 years ago, and look and see what was important to you. What were you interested in? What were your hopes, your dreams? How were you feeling about things? And then compare it to now, And there might be that, you've been through a lot. So there's some pessimism here. And there maybe is a sense of, like I said, disillusionment or feeling a little bit disenfranchised or, there's no certainty. Or at least there isn't like there used to be. And, but at the same time, it is like shaking free of the constraints of this dream that we are living in, right? The ability to realize, like, you are the creator of your own existence, of your universe. You are the architect of how you live in this world. And that's a beautiful thing. That kind of understanding, that kind of knowledge. All right, let's see. I'm going to get back to it. We're going to look at these tea leaves. Now, okay, so we have a person here with a child next to them. We have another person over here that is holding, it looks like we have them holding a ring, or it looks like a ring. They're holding a ring. We also have a heart and a diamond. Oh, okay, so this person's holding a child. There's another child, and there's a person here. So I almost kind of feel like maybe it's like a family. We have a house right here. Okay. I feel like there's maybe this sense of wanting to be with your family. Maybe you have the desire to begin having a family, finding a mate, or having a child, or, maybe grandchildren, or something like this. And there just seems to be that togetherness. And these people kind of dancing. It looks like they're dancing under the moon there. And it does. I just feel like there's a lot of laughing and joy and just a sense of belonging to this whole. And I feel like this is what you're really yearning for. So it looks like we have 7, maybe 777. Okay, so that's a jackpot there. Now we also have a person standing here that looks like they're holding. It looks, because these little pieces are flying off, I'm looking at this as like a dandelion seed thing, and the puffball that you blow on and it disperses the seeds. And I feel like, so yeah, there is like a wish coming true here. But it really does come down to this beginning that we were talking about, where, you know, there's something that has to change. And it is fundamental. I mean, it really, it doesn't seem easy, but it seems worthy, you know, and I feel like it's something that you've been avoiding, but you know what I'm talking about. We also have, it looks like JR 503. And then we have the cow's head. Okay, so we have Hathor here, the mother goddess. And we have a flag right up there. It looks like we have a face here as well. You can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth. So this is an important energy. I think that you must have been, or you are, really maybe very close to your mother or a mother figure. I almost wonder, I almost kind of get the energy that maybe there's a single mother here. That maybe you were raised by, or maybe you yourself are a single mother. But it kind of makes sense with this idea of this wanting for the family, wanting this for maybe your child, or wishing that maybe your family was together when you were young. But, you know, even so, I believe that you had such a strong mother figure that, you know, there's just such a love and respect there. And I feel like in some ways this is like something you're very proud of, but also something that can, in like the quiet moments, it's something that is kind of touchy for you. I mean, it really, it's one of those deep emotional wounds. And I feel, you know, that this maybe is part of, this is part of the work here, is kind of, you know, in this next cycle of time, I think, you know, kind of deciding that this is maybe something that needs to be talked about. Maybe there is something around the situation that, you know, has been hard for you to discuss. And you know, sometimes we do. It is kind of a blessing and a curse in that we are going along with our lives and trying to do the best that we can, and all of a sudden we hit one of these kind of emotional, spiritual blockages, and we think, gosh, what did I do to deserve this? Why is this all coming up? You know, and it could be the time of year, there could be an anniversary, a birthday, a situation where, you know, you're out, you're doing stuff, and you just, you see like maybe a family together, or, you know, whatever it is, and it just hits you. I sometimes do this with my daughter, because my parents died when I was a kid, and I, you know, not to say I'm like the best mom or anything, but I try. I do my best, you know, and have worked very hard to kind of break some of those cycles in my family line and my family experience, and change the way that, you know, my daughter is raised. And I see her with my husband. Shout out to Dove and Serpent Tarot, the best tarot reader and the best dad ever. Go check him out. But, you know, and it makes me kind of sad for my child self. Like, I wish I had, you know, I wish I had this. But, you know, it's something that it's an invitation into healing, ultimately, you know, and it's not easy. And sometimes, you know, we feel it and we look at it for a second and we think, not right now. That's too much. None for me, please. You know? And so, you know, it maybe is something to think about exploring, you know, this family dynamic, whatever it might have been. But the mother figure is so deep here. And I just, you know, I feel that, and we have over here a person sitting in a posture of meditation, likely, okay? And then we have maybe, I don't know, maybe it looks like a serpent, but it also looks like an S, okay? So I do feel like utilizing maybe your postures. Maybe you are somebody who partakes in yoga or, you know, Tai Chi or, you know, something, you know, that you're using your body in postures and passes and mudras and so on. Maybe utilizing these techniques, active imagination, meditation, transcendental meditation, whatever it is, whatever things work for you. Maybe you just, what's his name? I always loved hearing or reading about Edward Casey, who was kind of he channeled things. I guess you would call him a channeler. An American guy during, I think, the Depression. People would come to him and he was sort of an oracle, kind of a channeler or such. And he would go into these trance states, kind of in that hypnagogic state. He would lay down on this couch in his office and he'd go into these kind of in-between places, but he'd be laying on his back, you know, like taking a nap. And I always thought, wow, that's he's got it down, that guy. So maybe it is that you have visions in your dream, in those dream in-between places or within your dream realms. It could be all of this, but, you know, whatever it is, I think rely on what you know or rely on what your intuition leads you to. Be open and receptive to that inspiration, that kind of communication from the great unknown, that divine thing that likes to visit us in those kind of quiet places. And, you know, maybe try to make some use of it. You know, I always kind of cringe when people say, oh, I don't remember my dreams. And, you know, I don't know what I dream about. I just go to sleep. And, you know, that I kind of wish the same. But at the same time, I'm like, that's like the ultimate laboratory. You have so much, you know, space in there to be doing stuff, important stuff. And then, you know, bringing it back over. No doubt that you are doing it if you recall it or not. But to be able to bring that education back with you or those experiences in a conscious manner is such a gift. You know, that's something that it is one of those blessings we don't talk about enough, right? And so, you know, making use of these places maybe will be something very helpful for you. But I do overall feel like this kind of transition in your life, it comes together for you. We have this rabbit here. Okay, so last year was the year of the rabbit. And maybe I think, you know, if I'm remembering from my old Scorpio readings, is that, yeah, it was a hard year. It was not an easy year. There were some real tower moments there, and you're kind of in the, you know, the after effects of that. And so, you know, this year though, with the rabbit, 2023, but also bringing it forward, that energy, the abundance, right? The fertility of the rabbit, the ability to kind of draw on these like really intense creative energies, a lot of ideas and kind of mental resources and spiritual resources coming about, and using that, transmuting these things into something that will bring in money in the physical world. And that's, you know, not to say that you are doing necessarily magical work or anything like that, but maybe you are. I know we have a lot of readers that come here and watch the video, the readings, and other people within the, you know, I don't know, spiritual community, I guess, the cult community. And but, you know, beyond that, it could be applied to any part of your life, because I know anything you do, you're walking with spirit. You're walking with that spiritual channel that you are totally tapped into. Not even tapped into it. You are a part of it, right? You are just a part of that endless flow. And so this will be a good year for you, ultimately. I think that you will have some difficulties here and there, of course, and emotionally, some of the stuff that really, like, it feels very raw in some ways. But I think that, you know, really kind of processing through some of this stuff will end up proving to be some of the fuel for those deeper levels that you can get to. And that's a, you know, that's a beautiful thing when that comes up in our life. It's not always ideal, but, you know, it is worth it, because I think it lifts a kind of murkiness to our life, one shade at a time, you know, dealing with the things that we need to. And so often, which is strange, is that, you know, it's things that we don't even realize bother us so much, you know, things that, especially like when you feel like, okay, well, so many people I know went through this. And I'll use an example. I know I'm talking about myself a lot tonight, but I do often in my readings, so it's not really new. But, you know, my parents were addicts, right? And when I was growing up in the area that I grew up in, there were a lot of people who had parents who were, you know, alcoholics or drug addicts or, you know, whatever. And so I felt like, okay, well, this is like, you know, normal, I guess. It shouldn't be such a big deal, you know. I know a lot of people who are going through kind of the instability and neglect and, you know, things that kind of arise in a household of addiction. And, but, you know, getting older and going through recovery myself, as I am also an addict, and I've been in recovery for about 10 years now, and really looking at the thing and thinking, you know, it's all relative to our own experience, you know. And sometimes we just kind of, to cope, we normalize, we minimize the effect of something happening, you know, and that's the coping mechanism. And it, you know, it serves its purpose, but then when you get to this point in your life where you are doing the interior work, you are helping yourself, you are, you know, looking for some kind of reorientation, because some aspects of your life are just not working for you anymore. This is when we hit on these kind of nerves sometimes, and we think, wow, I didn't realize that was such a painful thing, you know. And so it's important when these opportunities arise, even if we really, really are like, I don't know, you know, to make use of it as much as you can. And now, that being said, if it is something that is very overwhelming and it is something you feel, no, I can't really, I can't touch on this now, I can't look at this now, that's okay too, right? That's super valid. And we must do what is best for us. right? Sometimes it's got to wait. Sometimes we can never get to it. And that's okay. That's okay, right? So don't be hard on yourself. Now we have a 10 and we have a 15. We also have, I keep thinking I'm like a birch tree, even though a birch tree is tall, straight up. I'm thinking of not a birch tree, but it does in my mind. I keep thinking, oh, it's a birch. It's not what a birch tree looks like. But if that comes up for you for some reason, a birch tree, if you have some connection, that is showing itself. No, baby. Don't jump on me right there. Okay, so we also have a heart. We have a little heart. We have a flower. And we have like a chicken bone here, like a thigh, right? So I feel almost a sense of, through all of this stuff that is going on, kind of in your own interior experience, and as it is kind of happening, and there is kind of an unfurling and working through and integration, I feel like your ability to connect with at least one person in your life, and I'm thinking this is like a domestic, maybe it's a spouse or a long-term relationship, or at least something enough that you share space, right? And I feel like your ability to connect and communicate has been much more at ease, right? There's a deepness to it. There's a profound, just kind of understanding emerging between you two, where I think it has been a little bit, there's that I keep thinking of this murkiness with everything, right? And it does feel like kind of, relieving a pain that you didn't even realize was kind of hanging around, right? So this seems like a really beautiful experience overall. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking this is going to be, at the end of things, it's going to be worth it, all of it, okay? All right, Scorpio, let's take a look at these Indigo Sage affirmation cards. And this is the air element. I'm going to go ahead and we'll flip through. Stop where it feels right. Ooh, we have the owl, the watcher. Okay, and it says, rejoice in simplicity. Occupy every point of view. Choose to know the truth because you can. Choose to know the truth because you can. TT says yes. Okay. All right, Scorpio. So I want to tell you I love you because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. And it is free to subscribe. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. They mean the world to me. And with that, I will say, take care of yourself. I love you. We'll talk in a few days. Good night. Good night. Good night.